Hello everyone, so my name's Alex and today we are going to be painting this jester cutout right here, and I'm going to be doing this in sort of like a masquerade type of like really elegant like red and black with like white and gold sort of theme. So I already have what I'm going to be painting sketched out on the canvas, the board, and if you want to do exactly what I did, then that's fine. A lot of the stuff is going to end up getting covered up and there's a lot of pieces to it, but this is basically kind of the outline of what I want to start with. So you can pause the video right now and draw out just with pencil, just like how I did, exactly what I did, or if you want to change things up, you can. We will be adding more details with the actual paint, so we don't have to worry too much about adding too much detail with pencil right now. We'll go back later and draw some stuff in. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to just go ahead and color the top part of the hat here and work my way down. So I'm going to be using my bigger kind of square brush right here, and I'm going to start off with just painting the top of the hat here, and I'm going to break that up into two colors. So I'm going to be doing like red, black, and then another red one right here. So I'm going to start off with all of my red ones. So I'm just going to paint this red and this red, and then what we'll do is work our way down here and get the other red stuff on there. I like to try to work a color at a time just to save brush washing time and all that stuff. So I'm going to go into just my red. So now that I have that red on there, the wood's going to absorb a lot of the paint, so I'm going to end up doing probably another layer of red. When I do the black is pretty dark, so it usually doesn't need another layer. So I'm doing these two red right here, and then I'm just going to do every other one. It's going to go black, red, and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and color that in now also. Alright, so now that I have all the red like this, the top part's sort of drying, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of let that dry right now, and I'm going to start going in with some of my black paint. So I'm going to be painting this part of the hat black, and then I'm also going to be doing this. There's like this sort of like two-piece thing happening here with the front of the hat. So I'm going to be ending up painting this strip with a gold paint. So I'm just going to leave that alone. But I'm going to paint this part black. I'm also going to paint this bottom half black. And then all the rest of these little collar pieces I'm also going to color in black. So as that is drying, the red is drying, I'm going to be painting the black. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another coat of red to everything while when I'm done with the black. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of my black, another coat of red, and then when I come back, all of that will be done. So if you want to kind of just pause the video, go do what you gotta do really quick, and then come back, that's fine. So I'm gonna go ahead, do all this, and by the time you get back, the red and the black will be all done. Alright, so this is what I have so far. So even if you need to go and dry your painting and stuff, I just used a hair dryer on the highest setting and the hottest setting, but I have all the black and red laid out and it is completely dry. So I need everything to be dry before I move on to the next steps here. So once you get the base of everything on there, you have as many coats as you would like on there, then we can go ahead and move on. But if not, pause the video, dry, and then come back. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to lay our gold and our white on here for the base. So we're going to get the rest of the board covered up here. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to be using my bigger brush here, and I just want to make sure that I'm getting it cleaned off really good. And I know that I have the eyes drawn in here, but even with the amount of coats I do, I'll probably still be able to see them later on. But if not, we can just redraw everything back in. But what I want to do is go ahead and we're going to do a layer of white for the mask right here, and then this band, and then the three little bells at the end of the hat will be in gold. And I'll show you what paints I use and all that good stuff. So making sure my brush is nice and dry, nice and clean. I'm gonna go ahead and when, I don't know if I said this in my other videos, but with white paint, I like to use white gesso because, and it's just this right here, so you can get this at Michael's anywhere. It's just Liquitex gesso, and I get it in a big bottle. I like to use gesso instead of white paint because it's a little more opaque and it's a nicer finish in my opinion. So I never use white paint. I always use gesso when I'm using white, but that's just preference. And even for this black here, I do have black paint that I use, but I used black gesso for the black and it's just way darker and the finish is way more nice. So that just takes like one coat and it gets really, really dark. So that's just a little side tip here, but I'm just gonna go in with my white. All right, and even though the gesso is like a really good solid paint, gesso is basically a paint that is used for like a prep. So for sometimes if I was doing like a really light painting on one of these boards, I could start off by painting the entire thing with a coat of gesso and it lets the paint get less absorbed into the wood. It gives it kind of like a barrier. But like I said, I just use it for literally white paint and I think it works great. So you can see that it looks really opaque right now, but it's probably going to end up drying down a little more see-through, that's fine. I'm going to add another coat anyway. So while that's drying, I'm going to move to a smaller brush and I'm going to go ahead and start getting the gold paint. So the gold paint that I am going to be using today is, I've used a lot of gold paints and I think this one's the best. And I got it just at like a craft store like Michael's and it's called Dazzling Metallics. And I do have it in that's the brand, but I do have it in other colors. Like I have it in, this is like a champagne-y kind of pearl color. And I also do have it in silver. And these are literally like liquid metallic color. So I'm gonna go ahead and just shake this up. Add some on my plate. And then I'm just going to be using just any sort of like pointed rounded brush that I have. And I will start off by first painting the little bells on the top. And you can do these in any color. If you wanted to do the same theme that I'm doing here, but if you wanted to do it with silver paint, that's fine too. You could totally do that, no problem. I just kind of like the gold with this sort of theme here. So it really is super bright. I don't know if you can see, but when it like reflects and it dries, it is like super metallic gold. It's like liquid gold. I know that I'm flicking a lot of paint everywhere, and that's just kind of what happens when I'm painting, but that's okay. The stuff can get covered up anyway, so if you make any mistakes, flick paint anywhere, you can always take the color you used before, just go right on top. And it is okay if your edges get a little messy. I'm gonna end up going in with like some red and touching up some of the spots I got some of the paint on, and I'm also gonna go with the black too. That's why I like to lay my colors on before I do these metallic ones, because they're not super opaque when they go over top of color, but by themselves they're really nice. So even if I have like wiggly lines and mess ups and stuff, I can just go back in with my other colors. So I'm gonna let all this gold dry. I'm going to touch up everything, and I'm also going to add another coat of white on top of here. If you are adding another coat, you do want to make sure that it is nice and dry. Mine's drying really good, so I can probably go in with another coat. So I'm going to touch up everything, add another coat of white, and then we will be right back to draw on some details and all that good stuff. So I forgot to mention that I'm also going to be drawing on the sketch for the face of what I'm going to be doing for the mask. So I'm going to just jump right to that. So whenever you get to that point in the video, you can go ahead and pause it and then just redraw what I've already drawn. Sometimes teaching that like step by step gets a little confusing because I really have to get in there with the details. So it's not going to be anything super complicated or hard to do. I'm just going to be doing a few little lines here and there and just some of the facial features of the mask. So right now I have everything all dried off and the base is all finished right now. So I'm going to go ahead with a pencil, draw in some of the details. I do have reference on my laptop next to me. And if you felt like you wanted to do something different or you have an idea of exactly a mask that you want to kind of follow, then go for it. I just kind of looked up a white and gold kind of masquerade mask and full face. So that's what I did for my lookup. And then if you want to do anything different, then you guys can. So I will be right back. All right, you guys. So this is what I have drawn out right now. I'll even hold it a little bit closer if you guys need to, but pause the video. But this is what I have drawn out. I know there's like a lot of lines and stuff going on, and if you need to, the best way to do this is look at reference photos. So I know that faces and stuff can be a little more challenging, but you can look up, you know, how to draw a basic face shape, stuff like that if you really need to. For these, I didn't make like a full nose or anything. I'm using basically just some lines. So I have 2 lines for the bridge, 1 for the top of the tip of the nose, 2 for the side, and that's kind of how I'm gonna make my nose for this because it's not like a, you know, definite nose, it's just like a mask. So I also have the lips in here, and I made the lips a little more kind of pointed going out this way to be a little more like clown, like a little more gestury. And then I just have a few little decorative lines that I'm gonna be doing in gold and decorating with all that good stuff. So pause the video. You can get into detail with this. If you want to change up the way that the lines are on the face, if you have something different in mind, go for it. If you have a different kind of mask, that's cool too. So this is what I have, and you can pause the video, look at it, and we're going to go ahead and just jump right back into painting. So for the face here, I'm going to start off by coloring the eyes in all black so that they're kind of just like silhouetted out. So I'm going to just take kind of a smaller brush that I have laying around, and I'm going to just use black. All right, so that's the eyes. I'm also going to go ahead and color in the nostrils really quick. So, and you know, I'm also going to outline the parts of the nose, all these lines. I'm going to do all of that in like a kind of gray color just to not make it so harsh and make it just a little more kind of toned down. So for my thinner lines like that, I am going to be using a smaller brush that I use for basically all of my paintings, is this brush right here, and it's a script brush. It's really called, like, that's the style, is a script, and you can get it any brand, anywhere. I got mine from Michael's, and it's just this very, very thin, narrow little bristled brush, and it's got really long bristles on it, and you can make really, really smooth lines. It's called script because it is for writing purposes, but it is perfect for all of these lines that we're going to be making here today. So I do recommend, if you've seen my other videos, I've recommended this brush, but I do recommend this. So for sure, go and get it if you do a lot of the painting and stuff. If you don't do too much of it, that's fine. I also recommend getting, you can get gold in this too, but I also recommend getting these paint markers as well. They're really nice for drawing lines as well if you don't know how to use the brush or are uncomfortable with the brush. But what I'm going to do right now is mix up a little bit of a gray. So I'm going to get a little white, a little black. Just something light, nothing too crazy dark. And then I'm just going to go right over top. Of these lines. And the way that this brush turns when you turn your hand is just wonderful. It like just glides with you. When you turn your hand, it turns with you. So it's perfect for like writing like O's and C's and stuff, which I know sometimes is really, really hard to do with paint. But this brush is just like perfect. It glides over everything so nicely. So once I have that gray on here, I'm not going to do that with the lips or anything. I'm going to end up painting those gold and doing more stuff with that. So for the nostrils though, I am just going to mix a kind of a darker gray. So I'm just going with the gray that I was already using and adding more black to it. And I'm just going to go ahead and color these nostrils in, and they are just kind of like half circles that are a little bit slanted. Like that. So it's kind of like a more simple cartoon version of how to draw a nose. So just like that. And then if you don't like the way that nose looks, you don't even have to have a nose. There are masks, obviously, that have just kind of like the bridge of the nose that doesn't have like the nostrils and stuff on it. But the mask that I'm going for has the nose. It's like kind of human-like. It makes it like a little bit creepy, but like a little bit elegant in that kind of way. So that's why I drew the nose. But if you don't want the nose, you don't have to have it. So the next thing that I'm going to do is color in all of these lines here and go over everything, and then I'm just going to add little decorative stuff after that. So I'm going to be going in with my script brush again and a little bit of gold paint. If you don't have a script brush, you can use, like I said, the marker, or if you have any other sort of like thin brush, that'll work too. So I'm going to take some of my gold. I'm also really quickly, before I continue on with all of the facial lines on there, I am just going to go ahead and color my lips in with gold paint. If you wanted to do them in a different color, you absolutely can. So just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on with all of these lines here. Okay, so this is all the gold on the mask. So if you wanted to pause this now and kind of see what I did and go over again or add some stuff that I added, the only thing I did different on here was on like the ends of all of my lines, I did kind of put like a little circle or a little like bulb at the end of my lines just to make them a little more round and to kind of finish off those lines. I outlined the eyes in gold too. So this is all the gold done. And what we're going to do now is add in some black details to the board here. So the first thing I want to do is add in some lines for the bells on the top of the hat here, because I want them to be bells. I don't want them to just be these circles. So if you have a small brush, you can for sure use that. I'm just going to go in with my black paint marker right here. Like I said, great thing to buy. I got this from Walmart, and the brand is Painters, and I have it in white too. And they come in different tip sizes too, so I just have this kind of like finer tip right here. But like I said, it's a great tool to have if you're painting a lot. I think it just makes everything go a lot faster. So I'm going to be using this, and for the line for the bell, I'm going to make them each different, but I do have reference over here of a bell, and what I'm going to do is, for the bells that I make, is I'm going to start off with this kind of like curved line just like that. So you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to do that to all these. I'm going to make them going in different directions. So this one maybe I'll make going like this way, and I do want to make sure that they are a little on the thicker side just so they can be seen. And then over here I'll make another one like they're going this way. Like I said, it's just way faster with these markers, I find. And then what I'm going to do with these is at the tops of each of these, I'm going to make just a black circle up top like this. just like that. And then you get that kind of jingle bell, I guess I would call it, sort of shape. So just like that, and now you get like these little bells. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to use my marker, but another technique that you can do, I'll show you right now. But I'm going to be using a little bit of black paint to make some decorative kind of dots and stuff all around here. So I was just thinking while I was painting this, if you even wanted to, you could get like little black rhinestones and do the same thing with that, and I think that would be really, really cool. But for the purpose of the painting, I'm just doing a do paint. But if I have any kind of small brush, I'm just going to use my script brush. But if I have any small brush, I'm going to use the back of it. If I just dip that into a little bit of black, I'm going to make a few little decorative kind of dots here. So maybe like, let's say right here by the eye, I'm going to do like a dot. So I just dip it in there. And you can get smaller dots that way too. So I'm going to do like one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3. I'm kind of making them bigger in the middle, and then as they go off on the side there, they just get a little bit smaller. So that's just like a fun little way to decorate this. So that's one way to do these. I like that way, but the dots take a little bit to dry. That's why if I have the paint marker, it works just as well. Keeps everything a little bit flatter. So I'm just kind of going in and adding in these little dots everywhere. Just be careful. If you're doing this, just be careful not to like touch the wet paint or anything like that. I know that you could probably like smudge some stuff and then that wouldn't be good. So you can go in with some big dots, some small dots. So I'm just going to go ahead and time lapse this and just kind of add some of the dots on here. And then if you want to, so I'm just going to go and kind of fast forward through this and add all these lines on here. Okay, so now that I have those black dots on there, you can add more or less. If you want to add some red dots in there too, you absolutely can. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to outline the mouth. So I'm going to be using my script brush with the black paint. The first thing I will do is outline the whole mouth. So I'm going to go ahead and just so I have that kind of outlined like that. And if I feel like I accidentally kind of screwed up on this line a little bit, that's okay, because I can always take a little bit of gold paint and cover up that if I want to. But what I'm also going to do for the mouth is make a line that goes like through the lips. So the way that I like to do that is like I like to also look at like a reference, like I'll like type in my laptop like lips. And then I can look at like a cartoon version of that. And then I can kind of get a feel for like some of the lines. So what I'm going to do is do like a curved up like this, a down, and then an up, and then a background like that. So if you wanted to make it like a more serious face, you don't want to have a mouth on there, you don't have to have a mouth on there, but I just think that this adds in that kind of like whimsical factor. It makes it a little more elegant, a little kind of creepy, and that's kind of the vibe I wanted for this, was just something a little fun, a little bit kind of creepy. This would be something really good for like a door hanger for Halloween or something like that. But that's all I'm going to be doing for the gold and black lines for the face and the bells. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add some really good highlights all over this. So especially where the bells are and like for like the lips on the mask and like this gold part here. So I'm going to be doing this in all the gold areas. So I do like to use the script brush for this also. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of my white on my script brush, or if you have a paint marker, you can use a white paint marker. I like to use the paint because it is a little more opaque. So for the bells, I like to add in, I'll kind of go with something that follows the curve like that. Maybe a little dot. And it's just something that adds a little bit of gloss, a little bit of life to an object that I want to be shiny. So I want this to kind of like show that gloss. So I usually like to go in with like a line, and then I'll go in with like a line and a dot for another one. Just like that. So I'm going to do that for the top one too. And make sure whatever you're doing, you want to follow the curve of the shape that you made. So for here, I wouldn't do like a straight line, I'm going to follow the curve. So I want this just to be a little shinier, so I'm just going to maybe do a little highlight there. Maybe right there. And then maybe the end there to kind of finish that off. So you can see that that just kind of added a little bit of a gloss to this. I also want to do this to the lips on the mask. So I'll go in maybe like there. And I do apologize. My phone had randomly stopped recording while I was finishing the last steps here. But the only thing that I did for the last step was add gold lines in between each of the little frills on the collar here. And then I also outlined the chin and the top of the forehead with some of the gold too. And that's the very last step. So I do apologize for that footage being cut out, but this is going to be the last step to the painting, and this is the finished product. So I hope you guys enjoyed painting this with me today. I had really a good time doing it. So if you wanted to change anything about this, you absolutely can. But that's going to be it for me, and I hope you guys see my other videos, and I hope you guys like those as well. And have a good one. Thanks.